Hi, welcome to another episode of Nerd Supernova. I'm your host, Paul Michaels, and my co-host today is...
AJ Haypenny.
Alright, so today we're going to go over Solo, a Star Wars story, which I would say is kind of getting mixed reactions from fans, but...
To say the least.
But even with that being said, I still think it's getting better reception than The Last Jedi did.
I'm not going to argue with that. See, personally, I did like The Last Jedi. I know you hated it.
Yeah.
But I feel that your opinions on Solo is a lot different.
Yeah. Okay, so it's obviously not making as much money as The Last Jedi, but I think we can say...
Because it wasn't part of the original canon. It wasn't like Star Wars Episode 8.
Yeah, well, here's my thing. I think there's a lot of factors with this. People have talked about this, but let's just go over them quickly. I think opening behind Infinity War and Deadpool 2 was probably not the best decision. They probably should have held off till December. 2, it's like you said, people are not really looking forward to like a Han Solo origin story. It wasn't really something we really necessarily wanted. It was an idea that we were like, oh, that'd be kind of cool, like in like a fan fiction kind of way. But
like you were saying, it's kind of similar to like, you know, let's the Avengers. Let's have a Hawkeye origin story. Yeah. That's what people want.
They want to see him shoot arrows in the circus and see where that goes.
So like, you have failed this city. Oh wait, wrong movie.
Yeah. But then the third thing I think definitely is too, I think fans are just kind of like... I think doing it 5 to 6 months after Last Jedi was not the best idea because fans were so mixed on that movie, to say the very least. And I don't think they wanted a new Star Wars right away, and it was just like, they're just like, nah.
Are you sure people didn't want flying Princess Leia?
I'm pretty sure no one wanted that. I mean, I was happy that Carrie Fisher lived in the movie, but now it seems kind of pointless because, you know, she died in real life. But they didn't know that when making the movie, so... They
should have killed her off right there. Like, as soon as she passed...
It would have sucked, like, to see
absolutely.
Like that, but at least I would have understood why, you know? But... Okay, we're not going to get on The Last Jedi. Because we'll use it for reference point, because obviously it's going to come up a lot with this new Star Wars movie, but I will say...
We'll use it as points. I mean, obviously the main point of this podcast is to talk about Solo.
Yeah.
But we will refer back to it, just like if you're reading a comic book, it refers back to stuff that you probably never even read.
Right. Okay, well Okay, so I'm a guy that did not like The Last Jedi. I was not really a fan, and the more I thought about it, the more I disliked the movie. But Solo, I'd say, has kind of an opposite reaction. And I'm not to say that the movie does not have major flaws, but for me, the fact that this movie came out even as well as it did, I'm kind of surprised. Because not even just the behind-the-scenes nonsense that's like the big fans know about and everything, but... I was honestly surprised. I was surprised that it was good as it actually was. One of the main things was the guy who plays Solo in general.
Was he in anything beforehand? Have you searched his Internet Movie Database?
The only really big thing like that people know him for would probably be Hail Caesar, the Coen Brothers movie about.
Oh my God!
He plays a small role in that. That's probably the biggest thing that he's been in besides this movie. Now, me personally, I was not rooting for him going in because I didn't like what the trailers had shown.
Han Solo or the real life guy?
Yeah, well, I just wanted someone that's looked for one like a young Harrison Ford, which he doesn't. As hard as they try, he looks like a guy in a Han Solo wig, and you know, like, and I wanted more of, like, I don't know, feeling like I'm watching Han Solo. I felt like I was watching like a kid cosplaying what he thought was Han Solo. That's what I got from the trailers. Now, the actual movie, I think he's done an acceptable job. I still think they could have probably got someone better to do the job, but I think he did an acceptable job in the fact that I think he gets the mannerisms down.
He did his job.
He did his job.
He was the Jimmy Garoppolo. of being Han Solo. I mean, sure, you could have got a better quarterback, but you're with him. He's still a handsome fella. He's not going to do the best job, but he'll still do the job.
He does the job. It's acceptable. It didn't take me out of the movie, and I didn't want to, you know, jump off the cliff upon seeing the film. So he did something right.
Yeah, because afterwards your head did look a little different after Last Jedi.
I did?
Like, yeah, because you jumped off that cliff.
Oh, I see.
But then this time around, I'm just like, your face looks great. You're cliffless. This is good.
So, okay, but honestly though, yeah, I mean, the best way I can put it is, I would probably put it as far as like, maybe below like Rogue One, but I still feel that it did a good job in utilizing the continuity. Like it felt like it was a Star Wars movie, which I couldn't say about The Last Jedi. It felt like it was made by someone that understood what fans wanted to see, at least, and what they wanted to get out of a Han Solo movie, for the most part.
Especially more towards the end, which we'll discuss a little bit later.
Now, what I can say that I really enjoyed about it was Donald Glover.
I think no one can argue that.
There are people that there's probably one or two detractors that maybe felt it was more of an impression, but me, honestly, I thought he nailed it. Like, I was excited about seeing him to begin with. The minute he was cast, I was on board, and it lived up to it. I was like, wow.
The reason why you're on board, because Donald Glover is a likable guy.
He is.
He has a history. This other guy playing Han Solo
I have nothing to attach to.
Yeah, no history.
Yeah.
But you have Childish Gambino, you have Derek Comedy from like 2006.
Troy Barnes from Community.
Right, which is probably like the biggest, other than Childish Gambino, the biggest connection to that.
Yeah.
Which is why like a lot of people on board. Personally, I don't, compared to Billy D. Williams, I don't think this new guy looks any more different from Han Solo than he does from Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
But he is a fantastic actor, and he played it off well. I mean, some people can argue that, it seemed like kind of an impression, but like you were saying, he freaking nailed it.
It felt like Lando. There wasn't any time where I questioned, is this Lando? You know, like, what would Lando say that? I'm like, no, I can see Lando doing that. Or, I can see Lando saying this or doing that. Yeah, so it worked for me. The other big pillar for me, and I know it's not a speaking part, so to speak, but Chewbacca was great to see, too. Especially after he got so unused in The Last Jedi.
Ugh.
Yeah. But he's great. He's great in it, and he's a great counterpoint to Han. Like, I don't understand how, like, you kind of, like...
How did he understand Wookiee?
Well, I mean, no.
Are they going to have to make another movie? Prequel to Han Solo?
If you're on a planet that deals in, like, trading and, making stuff, like, I mean, it was basically, like, a much better version of Jakku, essentially. Like, he would obviously probably pick up... And again, he wasn't, like, a linguist, but he knew little bits. He knew enough to get by, like maybe like a first year course of Wookiee, or I don't know what's is it Kashyyyk speak or whatever you would call it, I guess, I don't know, but
they had a Rosetta Stone for Wookiee.
Yeah, but he got by. Like, again, and even when he says the phrases, the subtitles make sure to show you that he's not speaking perfect Wookiee. He's speaking like very broken Wookiee. So it's like, okay, and
yeah, it's just like similar to the Hulk. It's just like, you won't like me when I'm hungry.
God. But they do a good job, I felt, too, because at least when he's doing it, you understand why. Because when he's speaking to Wookiee to him, it has to be so that the guards who are above them, because again, people don't know, he sees Chewbacca in prison, so the guards don't know that they're plotting against them, essentially. So it's like, okay, it works within the context of that part of the story. But yeah, the only real joke that I find about the movie is the dice, because the dice were never important until The Last Jedi.
I don't remember the dice at all.
The dice are in the original...
Other than Solo.
Yeah, the dice are in the original trilogy. I didn't know they were until literally after The Last Jedi was done, and someone pointed out to me that they are in there, but Han never has any real significance toward it. It's only The Last Jedi. Apparently there is a deleted scene where Han takes the dice out and hangs it back up on the Falcon, like after he's come into it after Rey's brought it back, but that was cut out. If I had been Rian Johnson, I would have just inserted that scene back in, like when Luke is entering in there and he sees the dice, I would have had the scene show Han putting them there in the first place, so, like, we have some connection that it's been there the whole time or something like that, but yeah, so the dice weren't really made a thing really until like The Last Jedi and stuff like that, and him and Luke giving it to Leia, which again with Ryan's way of directing doesn't make any sense because the dice disappear afterwards, but anyway, like, so they make it a point in this movie, and it's just basically a trinket. I'm gonna assume that maybe he got it from like his parents or something. Maybe that's why it's important to him. I don't know.
I mean, clearly it wasn't important enough to the producers of every single previous film to leave that in. So I don't feel that it's going to come to significant importance later on.
It's still like a trinket and stuff because like he gives it to his girlfriend Kira there, and then she gets kidnapped, and then they meet years later, and then she gives it back to him like covertly, and it's like, oh, okay, that's nice. I mean, it's not like an actual like plot point, so to speak. It's just kind of just unnecessarily there. It's just like it doesn't really need to be talked about, but I don't know. It's whatever. How did you feel about like the female leads? Because I liked Kira quite a lot, or at least for what we see her do in the movie.
Oh god, she's sexy as hell.
Well, I mean, sexy stuff aside, I thought she was pretty useful.
Useful too. Yeah, shifty eyes.
But I wasn't really on board with the droid, even though she was.
I was very on board with the droid.
You weren't okay.
I thought that was hilarious. Like having a droid be like all like droid rights
and stuff like that.
Just like Me Too, Droid 2. Like I don't know, but like I was digging that character up until she was brutally murdered.
So here's my thing, because like while that's a thing, I at least like that the movie makes a point that the characters are kind of annoyed about it. Like Lando is just like, oh, this droid, like, because the whole rebellion in general that she starts, while a great distraction for getting the coaxium there on Kessel, later is like a burden because then the Imperial fleet comes down hearing about their little rebellion, and then and that's what leads them to doing the whole shortcut through the Kessel Run in the first place. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but. I'm not gonna lie though, when she died,
in 24 parsecs, which was rounded down, as we found it out later on.
It was 12 parsecs, right? That was the 12. I don't know.
How would you compare a parsecs to a minute, or is it in metric time?
No, it's a measurement it's a measurement. So basically, he's saying I was able to do this in a shorter distance than usual. It's kind of like, okay, remember the movie?
No, but I want to know the metric. Measurements. What is a parsec to a meter?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. It doesn't matter because it's all ship speed and stuff anyway. They travel from one point to the other pretty quickly, so I would
think... Is a parsec like distance of a planet?
I don't know.
Like
I have no
idea. Because they do light speed. Mm-hmm. Is it like a light year?
It's just more the point that he basically was able to cut time, or cut distance going from one point to the other.
He's gone to plaid.
Yes, from Spaceballs. That's what he was saying. Yeah, so I don't know. When the droid died, I actually had kind of a sigh of relief, to be quite honest. I felt bad that the droid died, I guess, because like it seemed to make Lando, upset and everything, but then like they just...
Because Lando was dating that droid.
He was fucking the robot. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that was established. Just like I'm hooking up with him, but I don't think we can really be together.
It's whatever. It's Lando. It doesn't surprise me. What was the thing?
Yeah, but he's like Captain Jack, and just like.
But yeah, so then they take the navigational memory from the droid, and then they upload it into the Millennium Falcon. And what someone actually pointed out to me is kind of ironic, because the droid wants freedom, and then her memory gets uploaded into the Millennium Falcon for the rest of time. Like when C-3PO is talking to the ship in 5, she's probably like, "Get me the fuck out of here! Like, what are you doing? Get me out of here! I've been stuck in here for like 50 years." And he's probably like, "Oh, you have peculiar dialect."
Must be awful. Just like living in a house in Beetlejuice, and just like, I have to live with these dicks.
Probably.
Winona Ryder.
She's probably seen many things in that ship.
Ugh.
Han Solo banging a lot of chicks, at least.
Yeah, just like, this looks like a Jackson Pollock painting in here. He's pretty much the Star-Lord of Star Wars.
Right. Yeah, but you liked Kira. Now, is there any particular part of the movie that like really jumped out to you though? Like something that you really liked, or you thought was a good reference, or you thought that was good writing, or I don't know.
That's an excellent question. I know I'm jumping more towards the end. But my absolute favorite is when they stand up between Han Solo and Woody Harrelson, and he just shoots him.
Yeah.
Just shoots him first. And to me, that was the most important part of the film. because that established like he is Han Solo.
He's becoming Han Solo. He's losing his innocence, so to speak.
I don't feel that he's really lost his innocence in the sense of I don't think he's really had like all sorts of innocence to begin with.
Yeah.
Because like in the beginning, he was made to steal shit in the first place, and also like he establishes like I don't consider myself a good guy, even though Kira is saying like no you're a good guy. He's like
I'm an outlaw.
I'm an outlaw.
Yeah.
I'm a guy, which is pretty much what he was saying. Also in The Empire Strikes Back, which is why he was in Empire Strikes Back. He was leaving the rebellion because he's like, I'm not this guy, which is pretty much that. Which I feel was the most second important part. But when he shoots Woody Harrelson, he shot first, and to me that was really important because with the re-edits that they did in 1996, where they made like the other guy shoot first, this is why that was important.
See, I'm a weird Star Wars fan. I think I only saw the special edition of maybe 4 and 5 in theaters when I was a kid, and that was it. Like, I've never owned the special editions. I still have the old 1995 VHS copies.
That's the kind to have.
Yeah, and then I have my roommate has the last time they were ever on DVD, the original versions, you know, with like when they put them out like one last time in like the early 2000s, and then I watched that.
And that was before Return of the Jedi, where they replaced it with Hayden Christensen.
Yes, it's the original versions of the film as close as you can get, essentially. And like I've never seen the special editions really since maybe 1997, so I only know certain things because I found out over the years. And the more I find out over time, before Lucas sold off to Disney, I was like, good, I'm glad I still have the original versions. So yeah, but like, I forget that like, that happened, that like, Han didn't shoot first because he didn't want Han to be a scoundrel when that's what he was.
Oh, he absolutely was.
I don't understand what George Lucas's decisions were behind those ideas.
It was based off being like a little more PC, a little more child friendly. It's similar to like when South Park rips on George Lucas, saying like, oh, they turned all the guns into walkie-talkies. It's pretty much the same thing. He's a good guy if he waits for the other guy to shoot. But like that, we could is a Han Solo. We can root for an anti-hero. He's not a full-blown hero. I mean, he did help those people.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but he didn't join the rebellion.
No, he's like I'm gonna do my own thing for the next 10 years or so until like I see a hot princess, and then maybe I make a few other decisions or something.
Yeah.
But,
because he's a merc. He's a mercenary. He was even a mercenary in A New Hope.
More or less. Well, pilot / scoundrel / mercenary type thing. Now, I think if Disney's smart, because this movie is not doing great, if they want to do a thing like they want to tie up loose ends, they should make Boba Fett sort of like a semi-sequel, but its own story still. Like, he can work for Crimson Dawn, and even by that extension, you can make it a much darker story too, because Fett obviously did not have. I think if Han had a rough upbringing, I think Fett had a way harder like time making ends meet and doing things. You know, do you know what I'm saying? Like he had a much darker upbringing. And I think
because his dad got his head chopped off by Sam Jackson,
by a Master Jedi, which is a cool story to tell at a bar, but maybe not, for life,
So you don't know what's happening to him like as a kid afterwards. He probably has to like cabin boy that shit up.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of the Clone Wars series really.
I haven't either.
Yeah,
I was hoping you would because I'd ask you about him.
Well, so Tom has seen a good portion, and I've seen bits and pieces. Like, I haven't watched like a whole thing, but like essentially, Boba plays into it, I think, and I think he tries to. I think at one point he tries to go after Mace Windu because this is before Revenge of the Sith, and he gets caught and he gets imprisoned or something like that, And as far as like other characters that show up in this movie that are from the previous prequels, should we talk about that, because that's what I want to kind of talk about this main idea here that I have. Do you want to talk about that yet?
Which prequels are you referring to?
Well, I'm referring to the actual prequels and the one big character that shows up at the end here in the big cameo. Do you know?
Oh yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
The thing is, this clearly came out, or in canon, this is coming out after Star Wars Episode 1 with young Anakin.
This is like 10 years before New Hope, I think.
I absolutely love how Darth Maul came back, but in the credits, when I looked afterwards, it said just Maul. Yeah. So either he's not a Jedi anymore, or he's not part of the Sith.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a dark Jedi, probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
and also I absolutely love how Ray Park played him as well. So it's the same character, but his face is just like a little saggy, so it's been like 20, 30, 40 years.
It's been, let's see, because it's probably been about 20 years, I would say, from the time of Phantom Menace till that point in that movie. So, but yeah, I would say that, like, I mean, for hardcore fans who followed, like, everything, it wasn't a shock to see him. But if you've only seen the movies, though, people were probably thrown off. Because they're like, he died, like, a long time ago. How is he up and walking?
Yeah, because he was only cut in half. Like,
I don't know. Yeah. Well, so in Clone Wars, he gets a metal half of his body, essentially. He gets metal legs and like a half metal.
Oh, so it's established that he's still alive.
He's still alive. He has like metal legs, and he goes back and he joins his brother, and they basically become like warlords. And I think they take over. I forget what they take over, but it's like some planet. It's either their home planet or somewhere, and they basically rule over it for a time until Palpatine shows up, the Emperor, and wipes them out essentially. And then Maul has to like run away, and then you see him again later in Rebels. Now I'm going to spoil something for you because this is why I was more disappointed in.
That's fine because I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, I know you're not. And don't watch Rebels. I wasn't a big fan of that. But in Rebels, he finally, after all this horrible stuff that happens to him over and over again, he tracks down Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like we're talking like New Hope, Kenobi.
Like Ben Kenobi.
Ben Kenobi. He tracks him down to Tatooine, and he goes to basically kill him. And, Kenobi's, been practicing in the meantime, and Kenobi kills him in, like, 3 strokes, and he's done. And that's it. He's dead. So, when I saw the Maul cameo, I was, like, elated. Like, I was like, oh, it's pretty cool. But because Rebels is supposed to be in canon, like, I already know how he dies, so I was immediately, like, disappointed because I was, like, happy and then disappointed because I know what's going to happen to him already. So...
who dies?
Maul. He gets killed by Kenobi.
Okay, yeah, that'd still be part of the canon. Yeah, I had to think about that.
No, so what I was thinking, what they should do is they should basically make the next 2 movies, they should, like, the spin-offs, kind of tie into the Solo a little bit, but not, like, rely on Solo. Because Solo basically introduces...
Solo is just Solo. It's by itself.
But Solo introduces the Crimson Dawn, syndicate, right? Or the crime syndicate. So, the Fett movie, if it takes place, not after Return of the Jedi, and it takes place between, say, like, Revenge of the Sith and New Hope, they should have Fett be working for Maul, work for Crimson Dawn, before he joins, Jabba. And have that be like a central story. We get a little bit more about Maul. We see a little bit more about the Syndicate and stuff like that. And then we have the story be about Fett, changing sides over to Jabba, but have that be the story essentially. And then the third movie, which most likely will be Kenobi, which should be about Kenobi about finding out about Crimson Dawn and taking out Crimson Dawn, and then have that happen. And then have Maul again play a part, but again
with Ewan McGregor playing him again.
With playing Kenobi,
because it's been 10 years.
Yeah,
it's been 12 years.
Yeah. Now the thing in Clone Wars is that he knows that Maul is alive, like Kenobi does, but he might have thought Maul died again, possibly. So maybe he's more surprised that Maul's back. And then at the end of the Kenobi movie, maybe they fast forward, and that's the last scene you see. You see like a live-action interpretation of what you see in Rebels, so to speak, of like him doing the last duel with Maul or something, and that's like wrapping up those stories while continuing from Fett and continuing from Solo, kind of basically making like a Crimson Dawn trilogy, but like they're all separate stories, so to speak. Does that make any sense? Like,
I see where you're coming from there.
Yeah,
but like ultimately, with Clone Wars, Disney is probably not going to follow a lot of that canon that you just described. I mean, especially since I consider you a big Star Wars guy,
But I don't follow like the extra stuff.
Yeah. And you probably have you even followed the comic books or anything?
I don't follow any of that.
But like I consider a Star Wars fan a fan of the films. Well, like anything beyond that, like any other form of media, like I'd say it's more of an obsession than a fandom.
So here's my thing, because even what I just suggested would be a decent idea if that's what they wanted to do, right? And one of the big problems I feel with like where Star Wars has been heading is that Solo basically confirmed that, is that they're basically trying to treat it like the MCU, which for me doesn't really work.
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And the reason why you don't think it's going to work, and a lot of people don't think it's work. Hopefully they prove us wrong. But the MCU works because it's in order.
It's in order, but it's also based off of comics, which by nature you don't need to necessarily have seen or read all of the comics to understand, like, say, like an event or something like that.
You don't have to understand an event. You just really have to understand the character.
Yeah, but essentially, if you're watching a movie, and like say like Black Panther, Black Panther,
great movie.
Yeah,
and if you hate Black Panther, you're a racist.
But if you like Black Panther,
if you're listening, Miguel, you're a racist.
Anyway,
on a different podcast, sidebar, on a different podcast we did, he talked about how much he hated Black Panther.
There are people that did. I don't understand really why. I thought it was a very entertaining movie, but like I guess I can get it. I guess because maybe it didn't do it for him, but like me, I thought it was great. But
yeah, I mean it was a simple story, easy to follow plot. They didn't complicate shit.
They took the right amount of Lion King and Coming to America to make it work, like.
See, and that's stuff like that is probably why some people didn't like it, but I personally did, and because of the success of Black Panther, you're like, okay, maybe we could do something similar with Star Wars. We own this whole franchise, so like, okay, that maybe Han Solo can be our Captain America.
Right, but here's my thing. Now, one, I don't know what they're going to do going forward, because if this movie had been a big success, we would have to really be like legit talking about it. I think we can still talk about it, but
it's not like the Dark Universe in which they goofed with the Mummy.
No, I mean, but I'm saying is I think because everyone's reacting to Solo this way, they might be rethinking how they're going to do things going forward, because this movie, it's not doing like the worst ever, but for a Star Wars movie, it's not doing great. Mm. And my thing is, if you want to do some MCU stuff, like say like in spin-offs, and kind of try to work around that, or like make your own trilogy through like different stories from the characters that have been in Star Wars, like the idea that I just proposed to you, if they did something along those lines, I might be okay with that, depending on how it was done. But like, I'm more annoyed if like say, like in like The Last Jedi, right? Like they kill Snoke, and that,
which was total surprising.
Yeah, and I mean, it shocked me. Yeah, it subverted my expectations, but I didn't think it was a good idea. But then someone's like, "Oh, well, they might do a Snoke movie," and I'm like, "Well, that's stupid."
Why would anybody want a Snoke movie?
See, but that's my thing, though. It's like,
I'd rather have a Hawkeye movie than a Snoke movie.
But see, that's my point, though, and I think now because Solo's showing them that not everyone's on board to see like every Star Wars movie, they might want to rethink their strategy. My thing is this: if you're doing episodic episodes, or say like a new trilogy, you need to have the story confined to those films. Like, one of the reasons why I hated when Snoke died is because, like, I knew nothing about any more of his character, in context of what he was to the whole... He's basically the catalyst for the whole new trilogy. And I was thrown off with him dying and not learning anything anymore. And it was...
Game of Thrones changed the game. Mm. Because they're like, okay, you think this guy's the main bad guy? Ha-ha! We're gonna kill him off.
Yeah, but he wasn't. But he wasn't, say, like the catalyst to the whole thing, Or I mean, there was, and again,
he got Ned Starked early.
Yeah, but even fans knew, if anything in Game of Thrones was happening, that they had like a lot of books to go over, and they knew that this would play later into a later story. Like, fans don't know what's going on with Star Wars right now. I myself wasn't on board for any of what they did with Snoke because there was no context. And also, we barely know him anyway, so even him dying is just kind of like, okay. But what I'm saying is they probably have in their ideas to like, hey, let's do a spin-off on Snoke and then talk more about what happened between 6 and 7 in that movie. And it's like, no, you need to tell me in this film because that's the point of this fucking movie. That's what you should be talking about in this film if you're doing an episodic trilogy utilizing and homaging the old serials from the days of from way back. Like, that's the point. And that's what trilogies used to be. And like now you can tell they were trying to do some sort of MCU thing with Solo, which I was fine with Maul and everything, but I'm okay if they want to do that in spin-offs, but don't have it affect like the new trilogy that you're trying to make. That's like the main Skywalker saga. That's not a good idea, you know. And have the spin-offs be extensions of what we want to know, right? Don't have it be, you know, like Snoke or some lame character that we don't want to know anything more about or whatever. You know, like that's what I'm saying.
How are we doing on time, Paul?
We're about half an hour.
Half an hour.
Now, I mean, you want to wrap up your thoughts on Solo, essentially, or what?
Dude, as far as Solo goes, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Is it the best Star Wars movie I've ever seen? I think you already know my answer.
Probably no.
Yeah. But I did enjoy it. I'd see it again in theaters with MoviePass.
Okay, fair enough.
which fans I do recommend getting MoviePass for $10 a month.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that myself, actually.
I seriously have seen more movies, a lot of them bad, but I've seen more movies in the past year in theaters than I have my whole life.
Okay.
And I saw Deadpool the same week that I saw the Han Solo movie. Obviously, I enjoyed Deadpool 2 more,
yeah,
which you'll talk about at a later time.
Yeah.
But Solo, even though like they wanted to have a guy that they didn't want to spend a lot of money for, which is
they're hired that look like Harrison Ford.
I am 100% on board with you with that.
Yeah.
But they just want a guy that like they could literally pay less, like $500,000 for, which to the guy is like an amazing. But the thing is, like that's like minimum wage Hollywood style.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean I understand, and I maybe it sounds like I'm actually shitting on the movie. I'm not, because like honestly, I was surprised. I like this more than Last Jedi. At this rate, as far as Disney Star Wars goes, it's probably my second favorite because Rogue One is probably my favorite one that they've done. This is like a second, and I would say Force Awakens, but Force Awakens is made completely pointless by Last Jedi. So Last Jedi, I think we all know where I stand on that one. So. Yeah, man. I mean, either way, I say the franchise is still in trouble, though, with how things are being run. I think they definitely need to rework what they're going to do in the future. But for this movie, as it stands, as of right now, I liked it. I enjoyed a lot of it. I enjoyed the cameos. I enjoyed the references and the callbacks. And I found the guy playing Solo to be acceptable. And Chewbacca and Lando were great supporting in the cast and stuff like that, as well as Woody Harrelson. Though I don't feel as Woody Harrelson had as much to do as I would have liked for him to have done.
I mean, a lot of people feel that like Woody Harrelson was useless. I enjoy him in just about everything that he's ever been in.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson. He's a good actor.
But like, I do see what you're saying with the MCU. The reason why the MCU works, and the reason why Marvel is far superior in movies than DC and Star Wars and just about anything, is because they let the creators do their own thing, which I think is very important. Like, when a studio tries to get way too... I mean, obviously, they're making an investment. They have to be involved. Yeah. But when they get way too involved and derives from the story, it just makes it totally shitty.
Well, here's my thing, because, like, Marvel Studios is pretty much allowed to do what they want by Disney. I say the same goes for Lucasfilm, and that's where I'm getting at. Like,
but like the thing is, like Lucas is just one guy, and he has like several other creators. With the Marvel universe, are far more creators per film, and far more less people to fuck with.
The thing with Lucasfilm is that that's the thing. It's like I don't think Kathleen Kennedy is doing a good job communicating. One, between what fans want, but also like between directors and stuff. Like from what I've heard, Rian Johnson threw out and scrapped the stuff that JJ had left for him to work off of, like an outline for 8, and just did his own thing. And like you can see the results in like The Last Jedi and stuff. Kathleen should not have let that happen. The whole thing with Solo being done by the guys Lord and Miller there before they got fired. Right, and then Ron Howard had to be brought on to reshoot 70% of it. Like that's under Kathleen Kennedy. Even the guy playing Han Solo, that was the first guy they met with, and then they went to go. Yeah, I'm not kidding.
You're hired.
And then they
I haven't even said anything yet.
No. That's the thing. They went and they auditioned a bunch of guys after they met him, and then at some point Kathleen Kennedy basically just came to them and said, no, we're going to go with this guy that you met. And they're like, wait, that was the first guy that we met. Yeah, we're going to go with him. And they're like, oh, okay. So again,
see, we have Harrison Ford's son.
Yeah, like let's do that guy. No,
he inbred with his sister.
No,
and it's just like, no, we don't want someone that looks like him.
Looks and sounds exactly like Harrison Ford, like that guy from Age of Adeline, Anthony Ingruber. I forget how to pronounce his name.
Age of what?
He's actually voices the Joker in the Telltale Batman games. If you've seen Age of Adeline,
is that the movie with Blake Lively?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, but
was it good?
I haven't seen the movie. I've only seen the clips of that actor in the movie, like playing a young Harrison Ford, because it's a flashback, and he looks and sounds like a young Han Solo, and they didn't pick that guy. And that guy did audition for the part.
Are you shitting me?
I'm not shitting.
Bullshit, Paul. No way.
Lord and Miller confirmed that he did audition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so that again is on Kathleen Kennedy, and yeah,
that would have been too perfect.
Yeah,
that would have been too perfect if they booked that guy. They can't have it too perfect.
I guess not, but everyone's like, oh, well, you can't have an invitation be a thing. It's like, Donald Glover basically imitated Billy Dee Williams, and he did fine. You can't tell me... Because, again, they had the acting coach come in to work on this actor to do the part of Han, so you can't tell me that they wouldn't have hired an acting coach for this other actor if that was the case. Like, anyway, the movie as it stands, though, is fine. It's a fine Star Wars movie. It's not amazing, but it's
Paul,
good. It's good.
You said fine, like you ask your girlfriend, is everything okay? Fine!
No, you know what it is though, man? Like, after Last Jedi, I will just take what I can get. But, like, it works. It's fine. Like, I will buy the movie on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, and I can't say that I even did that for Last Jedi. Like, I had to wait for my roommate to buy it, and even then, he's like, you want to watch it with the director's commentary? And I was like, I gotta find out, like, what's going on, like, what his decision-makings were. And and about 10 minutes into the movie, I was yelling at the screen, because Rian Johnson's commentary on it was terrible. Anyway, but... I recommend Solo. If you hated Last Jedi, I think you'll actually get a kick out of Solo. Me personally.
And he's not just saying this because it's shitty in comparison to that.
I'm saying it's a decent film.
Yeah, because like comparing Wonder Woman to anything in the DCU is amazing, but Wonder Woman was amazing.
Yeah.
On its own.
Yeah. But no, like honestly, Solo did its job. I enjoyed it. If I were to watch Empire Strikes Back, I could actually believe that these younger versions were those characters, and then this is them years later. I could totally believe that. What else was I going to say? Now, I mean, there are people who are being negative about it, and I definitely understand that. One, because you're coming off of The Last Jedi for some of them, where, you know, some of them just don't want to see the movie, period, and I get that. Some people are literally boycotting Solo.
Boycotters.
I don't know, but my roommate Tom actually hated the movie. He was not a fan. He felt that it was boring. He felt what was the thing? He didn't like how Solo got his last name, which I kind of have to agree with. But like, it's kind
you know what it reminded me of?
What it reminded you?
Did you ever see the movie Mafia with Jay Moore?
Yes, years ago.
Where he goes to Ellis Island. And just like, pick a last name. Romani Windbreaker. It's literally like that same thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at least for me, it made sense within the context because he has no tribe, he has no people, so that's just his last name, I guess. So it's like
they literally stole from a parody movie on that.
Yeah, I don't know why they needed to let us know that Solo was not his original last name, or maybe just he never had a last name because he's like obviously like an orphan at this point and has no tribe, so to speak.
Solo is pretty much like Snow.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, essentially. But I don't know. That was kind of weird. And I would say this, like, people have been talking to me about cinematography and stuff for some reason, but the movie did look very, like, murky.
How do you mean murky?
Murky, just like everything's kind of just like yellow and brown.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
As compared to the prequels where like everything is sunshine.
Well, no, because you can have dirty and have it work. Like Force Awakens is semi-dirty. Like everything is like kind of, But I mean the actual screen, the actual color of the movie is kind of like, it's like murky and brown and dark, and it's like, okay. And I didn't notice it when I saw it like the first time, but like knowing that and going in, I definitely noticed it a lot more, I guess. But that's just like that's an actual just an aesthetic problem. But I mean,
do you mean like kind of like grainy, like everything just seemed like a disgusting? Like...
Yeah, kind of, I guess.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, but like I don't know, it didn't bother me as much as I guess I thought it would. But I'm trying to think back on the points too, because Tom and I were talking about this for like a while. About his points about what he disliked in the film. He didn't like the Maul cameo at all. He was very beside himself. He was like, maybe because of Rebels, maybe, I forget his reasoning, but he definitely was not a fan of that. He was...
In fairness, he's a bigger Star Wars nerd than either one of us.
Oh, for sure. He absorbs everything. He wasn't a fan of Woody Harrelson. Not because he didn't think the acting was good, it's just he didn't think his character was like worth anything or didn't do anything. I was like, all right. He did dig Donald Glover, but it's hard not to. Like, Donald Glover pretty much always nails it. So he was fine with Donald Glover. He did like the droid a lot, and I was like, all right, but I just didn't care for it that much. But yeah,
because that droid was about as liberal as you can get.
Yep, and that's why it died a horrible death. Oh my god, no! But I like I said, I felt bad when the droid died, but I somewhat relieved, I guess, a little bit too. I was like, okay, just because I didn't want to have to deal with like a droid yelling rebellion like every 5 minutes when I just want to concentrate on Han Solo and Lando being on an adventure film. I guess that's the best way to put it. But
so as far as movies in theaters right now that we can see later. We could see Solo, a Star Wars story.
Okay.
We could see Deadpool 2. And the third movie I've found with Cinema Pub is Book Club.
Oh, Book Club.
Did you want to see Book Club?
I don't want to see Book Club.
We can review Book Club. And we will get so many hits on your podcast there.
I don't know how that movie is even...
I love how, like, one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I think Book Club is like a chick flick, or it's like supposed to be like an older woman type of movie where it's like...
You post this on YouTube?
Yeah, I think
okay, so in the YouTube comments, what do you want Paul to review next? Do you want him to review Deadpool 2?
We're going to review Deadpool 2 next, man. I'm
Batman Ninja? No, this is completely up to your 50 fans.
No one's going to comment, dude.
Batman Ninja or Book Club. If you listened to this video all the way through and you didn't stop halfway through to go into your job, comment on what you want out of those three for Paul to review next.
All right, so, okay. So overall, let's just finalize this.
Okay, all right, fine. Since like whenever we get together and do whenever I do your podcast, we always say we're going to close it for 30 minutes, and it just never happens.
Here's my thing, though. So I want to just put it out there because I like the movie. I recommend it. I'd say you go see it, even though I know it is highly flawed, and I know not everyone loved it. Personally, I dug it. You yourself, I guess, felt the same way that you dug it. You thought it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair ranking, I would say. Not the worst thing. If you didn't like Last Jedi, chances are you will probably like this more. That seems to be most of what...
And if you liked Last Jedi, you definitely would like this.
Okay, yeah, because you did like Last Jedi. That's true. But yeah,
there's a lot of aspects I did like of Last Jedi.
No, I like certain things in Last Jedi, but I'd say the movie overall was not for me. But the what was I going to say? Most of what I've seen online from like fan reception and everything, and I mean like on forums and even like Rotten Tomatoes and like IMDb and whatnot, is that everyone kind of expected it to like be
Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 72. That's at least respectable.
Yeah, but I've seen like the audience reviews have been going up. It used to be in the negative, and now it's like a 64%, which is like decent. And whereas like The Last Jedi like actually continuously kept going down. And most forums that I've read, everyone who's actually seen the movie who's not boycotting it, most of them were actually surprised. We're like, oh, I actually expect this to kind of suck, and it was like pretty decent. I really like this. People were like, I've seen people be surprised by this movie. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I didn't mention it to you. Ron Howard, you know how like on Twitter, you can retweet someone's tweet. You can do it, and then it shows up on the thing.
Right.
I think it was great because Rian Johnson gave high praise to Solo. He loved it, and he was like, "Yeah, good job, Ron Howard. I thought this was a good movie." And then Ron Howard has been retweeting fans who have been surprised by Solo, saying, "Wow, I really like this. I went in with low expectations, but this was actually pretty decent." And that's usually followed by them saying, "I also thought The Last Jedi was really awful. That's why I thought this was going to be bad." He's done it like a few fans where he's retweeted that on his Twitter. So I think that's hilarious that Rian Johnson has supported him, and he's basically just thrown Rian Johnson and Last Jedi like under the bus.
I mean, like I said on Twitter, I didn't know it was directed by Ron Howard until I saw Clint Howard just in a random
right,
role.
You're like, oh, it has to be a Ron Howard movie now.
Yeah.
Or Adam Sandler because he's in the Waterboy.
Yeah.
Kidding, but yeah, man, Clint Howard, he's a staple. He's a staple. I don't.
He's the best quarterback since Joe Montana.
Is Clint Howard in Rush? Have you seen Rush? The movie Rush? The race car movie with Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, I didn't see that movie.
Oh, dude, you gotta see that movie. That's
but he's got to be in there somewhere. He's probably tweaking a tire or some shit.
He's like the Stan Lee cameo. Like you see it and then you almost forget about it like right away. Like because I know.
Yeah, but people are excited for a Stan Lee cameo.
What did you think of Warwick Davis showing up in the movie?
I thought that was amazing. I thought that was great. Like I probably got. Like it gave me a lady boner. Just
seeing Warwick.
I got so excited from that. Probably just as excited that Han Solo shot first, if not more. Because I'm just like, holy shit, that's Willow, and he looks the same. My God.
And what was it? When they attack the guards later in the movie, and then he shoots like what is essentially like a space bazooka at the guards, and they all fly up. I was laughing in the theater.
I'm surprised I didn't hear Wilhelm scream.
I feel like there was one in there, but
I don't think there was.
I don't know. I feel like they usually do it, but I don't know. Either way, Solo is fun. Check it out.
Before you close it, how did you rate it?
My ratings are always a little higher than usual, but I give it somewhere between like a 7 and an 8, maybe like a 7.5.
I'd say that's respectable.
Out of 10.
Ah.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I got a kick out of it. I enjoyed myself. It felt like a Star Wars movie, and that's kind of what I wanted. So, yeah, I got what I wanted out of the movie. So, and like you said, you're pretty much the same, like a 7 out of 10 or something like around that. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, or a 3 out of 5. Just check it out, man. It's fun. So, okay,
Latest.